Okay, all right, everybody. Welcome, 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 as we say in Fra Leazade. They say Akwaba, of course, is what you hear the most when you're here in Ghana. That's Chief for welcome. And, of course, welcome. So what I'll do is we'll walk through fast or slow. Sometimes I can take hours. Other times we can do it quickly in minutes. If you have any questions, feel free. Don't worry about being messing up anybody's recordings, because the information is more than, is more important, and your questions are important. Okay, so I'll start off here. My wife is from the north of the country, and they call it Bolgatanga in this area. One of the heroes or sheroes from that area is a woman called Apoko Kanyani. Apoko Kanyani was back during the slave trade days when there were other Africans and Europeans gathering Africans from the north. She was able, with her pestle, and this is the reason she has a pestle, to basically, a pounding, was basically able to ambush some of these slavers, and one in particular, and bashed his head, killed him on the spot. So they decided maybe this is not the best place to come, for more, and provided relative security, just the reputation of her and the ladies there and what had happened, and the word got back. So they said, let's leave this spot alone. So even if you go there now, you'll find that people have a different kind of attitude about being conquered, you see. And
Real good. Say the name again, please.
Apoko Kanyani.
Apoko Kanyani.
That's a Fra name. Okay. Now, some of these we won't go so far as Queen T. I know a lot of you have been, in the African-centered community a long time. Very, very prominent queen in 18th dynasty. She's related as either the mother or the aunt, or different stories to Akhenaten and Amenhotep III. So that's Queen T. And if a lot of you, I know Brother Asa Hilliard, and he used to always tell us this was maybe his favorite queen, with a combination of things: power, beauty, grace, influence, wisdom, the whole thing. So this is sisters on the cover, on the front. When you come in, I want everybody to know Queen T when they drive in that gate.
Ashe.
Okay. Now, of course, I don't have to say too much about the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I mean, I'm a Garveyite, trying to be a functional Garveyite, and be here where we have the land, the population, and resources, and see what we can do. So I always like for the youngsters to be aware of Marcus Garvey and the UNIA, and of course a lot of you know the story of it being the largest black organization the world has ever seen. You read Garvey today, you think he just was standing down in the corner writing it now, because the man has such foresight and brilliance. So we give Garvey the honor. I know there's not many questions on Garvey, but that's why he's central, because to me his solutions are still the most relevant and practical solutions there are.
When did you become a Garveyite?
Well, I think I've just been I think I've always been a Garveyite without announcing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to take it to the functional level,
Absolutely.
as opposed to just
talking about the.
But things start with talk, so I don't. We talk and then hopefully we act. Kwame Nkrumah. Of course, a lot of you know he's Ghana was the very first country in Africa to get its independence, and a lot of you will hear a lot more about Kwame Nkrumah on this trip. So I won't go too far with it, other than to say that he was the very first leader of independent post-colonial state in Africa, and of course it was in the development, freeing the African mind, a lot of the shackles that we had accumulated over the years of colonialism. And of course, he's a great man here in Ghana.
This particular portrait of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah,
yes,
is extra special. Because the vividness and the color of the artist's rendition of it is like so real. Like right here, right now. I mean, they're all wonderful.
And they're different artists.
I was going to say, that was where I was coming.
You can see a different artist. The first three artists is, I have a Rasta friend who's very brilliant with the abstract art. As you can see, it's a little different. This one is a little more realistic. This is a different guy here. I'll talk to you about these two in a second. These two are local. I'm in New Ningo, so these are the founders of New Ningo. Jonas Kabu, who was the first person here, and Hijamna, who was the first chief here, brought by Mr. Karbu here. So all of the local people and their youngsters, when they come here, you know, we have to give proper respect. And a lot of them really don't know the history of their own folks. So we're fortunate enough to have pictures. This is a very, very old pictures, but we had them. So we're lucky enough to have the realistic pictures of the founders of the place you're standing now. This is not Prom Prom, this is New Ningo, but across the street is Prom Prom and going back that way. But we're actually in New Ningo, N-I-N-G-O. Rhymes with bingo with the N. New Ningo, because the other place was Old Ningo. Now, my wife did this while I was gone, so I just saw it the first time yesterday. I like it. Welcome to Malevinas. Now we're Malevinas. You also see Albomas. Sometimes you'll see African Ancestral wall. You know, I know it looks like maybe that's an IRS thing. I'm trying to, no. But that's not what's happening. We've actually kind of made a few changes here and there. But anything you hear, Albomas, Malevna is my girl. Where's
It's doing it.